additional flood relief allocation for Kelantan and Terengganu. Sijil pelajaran Malaysia to proceed as scheduled despite flooding. Salam Malaysia Madani, I'm Otto Othman and you're watching Malaysia Tonight. Now, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim today announced an additional immediate allocation for Kelantan and Terengganu with 25 million ringgit for each state in the wake of the severe floods that have hit them. Datuk Seri Anwar, who is also the Finance Minister, said the funds channeled through the Implementation Coordination Unit (ICU) of the Prime Minister's Department will be used for repairing essential infrastructure such as roads and drainage systems, as well as raising road levels.
Dari segi kerajaan persekutuan, seperti mana telah diumumkan rakyat, kita akan beri seluruh kerjasama, bantuan yang penuh. Dan untuk Kelantan dan Terengganu, seperti mana kita umumkan, 50 juta telah diputuskan untuk disalurkan. Kemudian saya dapat maklumat lagi tentang keperluan-keperluan terakhir ini dan kita dah lulus selain dari 50 juta itu tambahan kerana nampak jumlah yang terkesan itu jauh lebih besar daripada unjuran awal. Maknanya kita tambah lagi 25 juta.
The Premier also announced that the federal government had agreed to provide a special financial assistance of 500 ringgit to over 14,000 civil servants in Terengganu, involving an allocation of 7.4 million ringgit. He made the announcement after visiting flood victims at the Temporary Evacuation Centre or PPS at Sekolah Kebangsaan Kampung Telaga Papan, Setia. Meanwhile, Datuk Seri Anwar said that there is no need to declare an emergency despite the increasingly serious flood situation, especially in Kelantan and Terengganu. He explained that this is because all security teams, including the Malaysian Armed Forces (ATM), the Royal Malaysia Police (PDRM), the Civil Defence Force (APM), the Fire and Rescue Department (JBPM), and all federal, state and district machinery are capable of handling the disaster effectively. On a related note, Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said there is no need to declare a state of emergency for the states severely affected by the floods, especially Kelantan and Terengganu. The Deputy Premier, who is also the Chairman of the National Disaster Management Committee, said that the decision was made considering that the National Disaster Management Agency, or NADMA, has the best methods to resolve the issue.
Saya tidak jangkakan darurat harus diisytiharkan, namun kerjasama yang erat antara jentera, penyelamat, kerajaan pusat dan kerajaan negeri telah dimobilisasikan sepenuhnya. Apatah lagi bila banjir itu akan menurun hingga ke Pahang dan Johor, dan kita mempunyai kaedah-kaedah yang tersusun melalui NADMA dan agensi-agensi penguatkuasaan dan penyelamatan untuk kita mendepani permasalahan.
In addition, Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid, when met today, said he has also issued a directive to allow the opening of new temporary evacuation centres or PPS according to current situational needs.
Saya telah mengarahkan agar PPS baharu yang tidak didaftarkan di bawah NADMA harus digunakan, terutama sekolah-sekolah dan dewan-dewan komuniti, supaya mereka yang dipindahkan dapat didaftarkan di PPS yang tidak didaftarkan ini. Apatah lagi jika PPS yang sedia ada itu mengalami kesesakan yang luar biasa.
He noted the number of flood victims at PPS is expected to decrease next week following the forecast of reduced rainfall by the Malaysian Meteorological Department, Met Malaysia. Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said this was despite the concerning floods nationwide, particularly in Kelantan and Terengganu, which were worse than the 2014 floods. The Education Ministry, or MOE, will proceed with the 2024 Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia SPM examination in all flood-affected states, including Kelantan, Terengganu and Kedah, as scheduled from tomorrow until Thursday, 5th December. Now, this is following advice from the National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA. Minister Fadlina Siddiq, when met today, said the decision was also based on forecasts from the Malaysian Meteorological Department, Met Malaysia, regarding the northeast monsoon MTL situation, which is expected to persist until February 2025.
Calon yang terjejas akan digerakkan ke asrama atau pusat peperiksaan alternatif. Ini untuk memastikan calon yang kita selamatkan ataupun yang terjejas ini dapat keselesaan dan menduduki peperiksaan mengikut jadual yang ditetapkan. Setakat ini pemindahan calon-calon yang terkesan dengan banjir sedang dilaksanakan oleh semua peringkat JPN negeri, ketiga-tiga negeri khususnya, dan mereka ini akan ditempatkan di asrama. Jadi gerakan untuk memindahkan mereka sedang dilaksanakan untuk memastikan mereka dapat tinggal di asrama yang kondusif dan dapat meneruskan ulang kaji dan persiapan SPM mereka dengan lebih tersusun dengan sokongan-sokongan yang akan kita juga siapkan.
According to Fadlina, 5,377 SPM candidates were identified as being affected by floods in 3 states. 3,111 candidates in Kelantan, 1,734 in Terengganu and 532 in Kedah. The Home Ministry, through the National Registration Department, JPN, meanwhile, is offering free replacements for documents such as birth certificates and identity cards lost in floods. Elaborating further on the matter through a post on his official X account today, Home Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said that after the flood season, JPN officers will set up counters and deploy mobile buses to affected areas to expedite the process. He said his ministry hopes their efforts will, to some extent, assist those affected and ease their post-flood affairs. The Malaysian Armed Forces ATM is prepared to deploy additional assets and personnel to assist flood victims as the situation worsens. Chief of Defence Forces General Tan Sri Muhammad Abdul Rahman said 5,600 personnel have already been mobilised for flood relief operations and stationed in areas expected to be affected.
Mereka telah pun digerakkan ke kawasan-kawasan yang terjejas dengan banjir. Sekiranya ada keperluan untuk penambahan anggota ataupun aset, perkara ini akan dibuat oleh Commander on the ground. Mereka akan buat kiraan keadaan sekiranya memerlukan penambahan anggota ataupun aset-aset, kita akan gerakkan daripada negeri-negeri yang belum terjejas dengan banjir. So maknanya semuanya telah pun bersedia.
Met today, the Chief of Defence further noted that ATM would also assist in transporting Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia SPM candidates in remote areas to examination centres if floods persist when exams begin tomorrow. Regarding the Air Force Base in Kepala Batas, Kedah, which houses the Air Force College and is affected by floods, he said training activities for cadets will be temporarily halted if the situation does not improve. SPMP to build 23,000 rumah mesra rakyat by 2025. The Ministry of Housing and Local Government KPKT has allocated 1.92 billion ringgit to construct 23,000 Rumah Mesra Rakyat RMR units through Syarikat Perumahan Negara Berhad SPNB by 2025 under the 12th Malaysia Plan 12 MP. Minister Ngah Koh Bing said the figure surpasses the initial target of 15,000 RMR units. He said initially, SPNP was allocated 1.23 billion ringgit to build 15,000 RMR units nationwide by 2025. In light of the high demand for the RMR program, he said the Madani government subsequently approved an additional 683 million ringgit to build 8,000 more RMR units, including 504 million ringgit announced in Budget 2025.
Di bawah rancangan Malaysia ke-12, kerajaan telah menetapkan untuk membina 500,000 unit rumah mampu milik. Tak pernah ada satu orang Perdana Menteri pernah capai. Tapi saya yakin sekarang di bawah pimpinan PMX, saya yakin sasaran ini bukan saja boleh capai, malah boleh melepasi sasaran seperti SPNB.
He said this at a press conference after the handover of house keys to 45 homeowners of Villa Idaman and RMR homes of the Sentuhan Kejayaan KPKT program at Villa Idaman, Cemo in Ipoh. Ngah noted that this year alone, 4,500 RMR units have been built nationwide, and SPNB plans to construct 5,400 units next year to meet the housing needs of the people. Meanwhile, they highlighted that the number of unsold affordable homes nationwide currently stands at 24,000 units, reflecting a 40% reduction. Bursa Malaysia is expected to sustain its recovery next week, with the FBM KLCI trading between 1,600 to 1,610, according to UOB Kay Hian's Muhammad Sedek Jantan, citing bargain hunting and supportive sentiment. Now, despite briefly slipping below 1,600, a rebound seems likely as investors capitalize on opportunities post-earnings season. Positive momentum in U.S. markets may also benefit regional indices through the U.S. Thanksgiving holiday and reduced trading hours impacted participation. Rakuten Trades Thong Pak Leng predicts the FBM KLCI will consolidate within 1,590, 1,610 as investors await fresh catalysts, including the S&P Global Malaysia Manufacturing PMI due Monday. On a weekly basis, the FBM KLCI rose 4.51 points to 1,594.29 through it failed to hold above 1,600 amid concerns over U.S. tariffs and Fed rates. The FBM Emas Index added 20.14 points to 12,131.13, while the FBM 70 Index fell 74.20 points to 17,859.82. By sector, the Financial Services Index jumped 152.96 points to 19,190.03, while the Healthcare Index gained 33.38 points to 2,169.49. The Plantation Index dipped 6.70 points to 7,531.82, and the Energy Index dropped 7.83 points to 812.29. The ringgit is expected to trade within the range of 4.4275 to 4.4475 versus the American dollar next week, with a slight upside bias on anticipation of a U.S. interest rate cut in December. The U.S. Federal Reserve's Fed next policy meeting is scheduled for 17th to 18th December 2024. SPI Asset Management Managing Director Stephen Inez said predicting the U.S. dollar's movement next week remains challenging, especially with U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's unpredictable actions. The ringgit was mixed against the U.S. dollar this week, but strengthened on improved sentiment from declining U.S. bond yields, less hawkish Fed meeting minutes, and broader regional currency gains. However, it faced pressure midweek due to concerns over potential U.S. tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China. Trading was subdued later in the week, with limited activity ahead of the U.S. Thanksgiving holiday. On a Friday-to-Friday basis, the ringgit appreciated against the US dollar to 4.4425 against 4.4495 from 4.4660 against 4.4710 a week ago. For the week, the local note was traded lower against other major currencies. The crude palm oil CPO futures contract on Bursa Malaysia derivatives is expected to trade within an upside bias next week, given the worsening floods in the East Coast. Palm oil dealer David Ng said low inventory levels of the commodity will also push it up its price. However, Interband Group of Companies senior palm oil trader Jim Teh sees the futures trading lower in the coming week due to profit-taking following recent rallies. He said the company expects the prices to range between 4,500 ringgit to 4,600 ringgit per ton next week. On a Friday-to-Friday basis, the new spot month December 2024 contract jumped 448 ringgit to 5,238 ringgit per ton. January 2025 climbed by 411 ringgit to 5,125 ringgit, and February 2025 expanded by 378 ringgit to 5,020 ringgit. The March 2025 contract gained 356 ringgit to 4,903 ringgit per ton. April 2025 rose 314 ringgit to 4,772 ringgit, and the May 2025 contract bounced 267 ringgit to 4,640 ringgit. Total weekly volume dropped to 402,631 lots from 532,086 lots in the preceding week, while open interest fell to 227,559 contracts from 239,910 contracts a week earlier. Elsewhere, the local rubber market is expected to trade range-bound with a tendency to be higher, mainly due to tight supply situation from the weather disruptions. Now, industry expert Dennis Lowe said rubber tapping and collecting activities may further be hampered by the incessant rainfalls, which could trigger a shortage. Meanwhile, Lowe said President-elect Donald Trump, who had floated the idea of imposing additional tariffs of 60% or more on Chinese goods, may prompt the other buyers to increase their rubber imports to boost their exports in anticipation of higher tariffs in the future. On the other hand, the Malaysian Rubber Glove Manufacturers Association, MARGMA, said the rubber market is likely to remain volatile and track performance of regional rubber futures markets. The association said the improving Chinese demand, geopolitical developments, and global economic indicators may also support the uptrend of prices and set the market's direction in the coming week. Still ahead, flooding eases in Hat Yai, but parts of southern Thailand still underwater.
On the table.
Obviously, there are two main engines of growth in any economies.
What are the implications of Malaysia's growth on employment, income levels, and also standard of living per population?
From a historical perspective, it's been good.
The capacity in our country can be built to be in the same level as the world standards. Hat Yai, the economic hub in Thailand's south, is slowly getting back to normal, while flooding elsewhere in the southern provinces remains serious after the region was inundated by downpours that triggered deluges. Municipality workers have started to remove flood debris and repair roads in the city to clear the surfaces for traffic after flooding from rain and overflowing canals paralyzed the main city in Songkhla province. Residents came out on Sunday to clean their communities after the flooding forced them to move valuable items to safe places elsewhere or to higher floors. Floods, however, continued in most areas in the region, with some sections of main roads still submerged and even impassable. The death toll from the worst floods in decades in the southern region rose from 9 to 12, with more than 640,000 households affected.
5 people were drowned in Songkla, 3 in Batani, 2 in Naratiwat, and 1 each in Patlahlung and Yala. The meteorological office responsible for the eastern part of the southern region on Sunday warned of heavy rains, strong winds and stormy seas in Songkla and Naratiwat, while torrential rains are expected in Patlahlung and Yala.
At least 3 people killed in rain-related incidents as Cyclone Fengal made landfall on South India's eastern coast, uprooting trees and flooding roads. The cyclone made landfall near the Union Territory of Puducherry on Saturday night, bringing heavy downpour to Tamil Nadu state.
The Regional Meteorological Center, RMC, said the cyclone is forecast to gradually weaken in a deep depression. The Indian military was pressed into action to rescue more than 100 people in flooded areas in Puducherry on Saturday as local officials opened the gates of private and government schools and colleges for shelter. The red alert was sounded in at least 7 districts of Tamil Nadu, with warnings of heavy to very heavy rainfall in the next 24 hours. Severe storms pummeled the coasts of India and neighboring Bangladesh and Sri Lanka during the cyclone season from April to December each year, damaging both life and property. However, scientists have warned that storms are becoming more powerful. This is due to the warming of oceans as a result of the climate crisis.
Coming up in sports, Lek Ho aims to maintain unbeaten streak in 2024. Stay with us. Now, 2-time Paralympic badminton champion Chia Lek Ho is determined to end the year on a high note by maintaining his unbeaten streak throughout 2024. The 36-year-old, who won every match he played this year to claim 5 titles, including at the Paris Paralympics, will wrap up the season after Bahrain Para Badminton International in Manama from 11th to 15th December.
Lek Ho's last defeat was nearly a year ago against compatriot Muhammad Fariz Anwar in the SU5 men's singles final at the Faza Dubai Para Badminton International last December.
Bahrain ni mereka kali pertama mengadakan kejohanan level 1. Jadi pada tahun inilah saya pun bukan nak kalau tahun lepas itu ialah level 2. Jadi saya tak boleh kata nak defend title tu sebab sekarang ni adalah level 1. Cuma saya akan pergi untuk bertanding di.
Earlier, Lek Ho received a 10,000 ringgit incentive from the Kuala Lumpur Badminton Association (KLPA) at the Academy Badminton Malaysia for his gold medal feat in Paralympics, while his coach Nova Armada gained 2,000 ringgit. National men's double shuttler So Woi Yik, meanwhile, received 5,000 ringgit for defending the Olympic bronze medal with his partner Aaron Chia, while coach Hun Tien Hao was awarded 2,000 ringgit for guiding national women's doubles Pearly Tan and Tina into the semi-finals in Paris. The ceremony was held in conjunction with KLBA's annual general meeting today. KLBA President Datuk Sri Dr. Jaharuddin OIM Muhammad Yunus hopes their success would inspire more young players to achieve new legacies and also pledged that KLBA would continue their grassroots programs to create new champions.
Johor Darul Ta'zim JDT head coach Hector Bidoglio wants his players to remain focused to ensure victory in all Malaysia Cup matches. Now, he said the Malaysia Cup is an important competition for the Southern Tigers as they aim to defend their title.
Defending champions JDT cruised into the quarterfinals of the Malaysia Cup in style with a 9-0 aggregate victory over Kuala Lumpur KL Rovers. The Southern Tigers recorded a big victory after sinking the A1 Semi-Pro League team 6-0 in the round of 16 second leg match at the Sultan Ibrahim Stadium in Iskandar Putri on Saturday, following a 3-0 win in the first leg match on 20th November.
I know that the set pieces is very important in the game. The defensive set pieces and offensive set pieces is very, very important. You can win one game with set pieces. In my opinion, the players have been working very well about set pieces. In my opinion, we are improving about set pieces, and we need to continue improve. This is football. It's not easy to score in set pieces. It's not easy. We have very good player at header, a very good shooter. So we need to continue working about set pieces, and we need to improve.
Meanwhile, KL Rovers assistant head coach Iqbal Hanafi Masduki said his players gave their best despite being tired.
Walau bagaimanapun player memberikan 100%, saya amat bersyukur kerana mereka menunjukkan prestasi yang baik dan ini adalah satu pengalaman sebagai untuk melalui Liga A1 yang akan bersambung pada hari Rabu ini.
JDT began their goal spree as early as the 13th minute through an own goal by KL Rovers defender Muhammad Rafi Nagrugani before left-back Levir Corbin Ong put JDT in a comfortable position, scoring in the 33rd minute. Former Real Madrid player Jesse Rodriguez extended control with a first-half injury time goal, making it 3-0. JDT continued their onslaught in the second half, but imported striker from Brazil, Bergson da Silva, scored 2 goals in the 74th and 82nd minutes, respectively. JDT then completed the stylish victory through Muhammadu Sumares' goal, which easily finished off Muhammad Nazmi Faiz Mansour's push in the 88th minute. In another second-leg Malaysia Cup match played at the State Stadium in Sarawak, Kuching City FC knocked out Penang FC after a 3-0 aggregate win to cruise into the quarterfinals. Kuching City FC, who were leading 1-0 from the first leg, registered a 2-0 victory over 10-man Penang since Muhammad Adib Abdul Raub was given the marching orders in the 37th minute after a video assistant referral VAR for a foul on Moses Atede. The home side opened accounts in the 69th minute through Namibian import Petrus Chitembi before Muhammad Ramadan Saifullah Usman ensured the win with a strike in the 78th minute. In the quarterfinals, Kuching City will face Sabah FC, who disposed Putrajaya Antlers 7-0. Meanwhile, Perak FC recorded a 3-1 victory over Kelantan Darul Naim KDN FC at the Manjung Municipal Council Stadium MPM to advance to the quarterfinals with an aggregate result of 6-1. This Richard Last squad got off to a fierce start when they managed to open the scoring as early as the 9th minute through Brazilian import striker Clayton da Silva, while Wanzak Haikal doubled the score in the 35th minute. Perak then increased the gap through Arif Rashid Arif's goal in the 60th minute, while Park Ji-hong's men scored a consolation goal through Adam Daniel Muhammad Zaid in the 84th minute.
That's it from us this evening. In our top story, Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia to proceed as scheduled despite flooding. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Thanks for watching and have a pleasant evening ahead.